Hi, welcome back to part 2 of doing the firmware upgrade. So in this I'll show you how to identify what type of panel you have, what size it is, and where to find the serial number. Then we'll insert the memory stick, we'll begin the firmware upload, and then after that I'll show you how to set your panel up. Okay, so on the right hand side of your panel, you'll find a sticker. This has the manufacture date, March 2022. So when we send you the link of all the firmware updates, you check when it's manufactured, March 2022. I'll go closer in, and you find the size of the panel. This one has 6.5 before it. That means the panel is 65 inch. Record the rest of the serial number, and then you're good. There's also a part on the screen, which I'll show you as well. So if you go on your screen, click on your arrow, your settings. If you go about, your serial number is also here. Your device, TouchBoard panel, 65 inch, Xenon Pro V4. So there's two ways of identifying. Before we start, I'll direct you to the left hand side of the panel. This port that says USB 2.0, that's where your memory stick goes. Insert that in. Right, our next step will be turning off the panel. Now, how we turn this off for a firmware update, again, we're at the right hand side. That's where the power is plugged into the panel. So just underneath here is a switch. Oh, sorry, to the side because it's 65 inch, but 75, the switch is underneath, but it's always around the power. So if I click that off, we are now off and we're ready to go. Okay, so what we're going to do now, to start the firmware process, we're going to put our finger on the power button. We're going to flick this switch I showed you earlier. Keep your finger on here. Flick the switch. Keep your finger on until a blue screen with a loading bar comes up. So the red light goes green, flashes red. It's initiating the process. Here we go. You can now release your finger off the power. It's doing the upgrade. This will take a few minutes. If you ever load the wrong firmware in, say you have a 75 inch firmware, you load it onto 65 by mistake, what you'll find is you'll have lines, you'll have maybe 2-3 different types of images. It will look very strange. But if you restart, if you get the correct firmware and reload it, then you'll be back to a normal screen again. Okay, so it just turns on, then restarts. We'll be back on again in a moment. Alright, so this is your first page. Once you've reloaded, what we do is we skip this and we go into it ourselves, because there's a little bit of a process connecting to your network, and there's a few other things. So we skip and start immediately. Here we come on. First things first, I would go, we set your date and time. Date and time usually gets connected automatically. If you're in a school, sometimes your network can firewall a lot of things, especially when you're trying to set up this board. So personally, I like to actually just hotspot my phone just for the setting up process. Once you're connected, go to your date and time. You can automatically determine the date and time. So if you're onto your network or you've hotspotted your phone, this will pick up automatically. Make sure your time zone, you're in the right place. If you want to manually do it, you can do it here as well. And double check your date, double check your time, press confirm, and then you can let it continue automatically. So that's set up. What we want to go to next is your power settings. This panel, if no one's using it, you shouldn't really want it to remain on, especially if you've left it on by accident. We want the panel to know if this isn't touched in 4 hours, it's going to turn off. Worst case scenario, this could be left on over a weekend. Power off alarm as well. Every day of the week, let's go that this will power off 6 o'clock every night. I'll tell you a common theme that happens. This standby button, if you press it once, it puts your panel in sleep mode. So sometimes people leave the workplace or the office and they go, press once, I've turned it off, I'm going home. But your light's still green. It's a long press. We'll shut this down. Also, make sure your wireless mirroring is set up. If you're not connected to a network or not hotspotted off your phone, this IP address will not come up, and I'll call this a trial version. It just basically means you're not connected. Now I think we're all good and we're ready to go. Thanks for watching.